In a sea of tired takes, PG-friendly reviews, and robotic match recaps, there's one channel that stood out from the rest. I'm talking about the SmarkBusters, aka the only YouTube wrestling channel that wasn't afraid to say, hey, maybe 45-minute matches between 120-pound guys who look like failed Tekken characters aren't peak wrestling. I'm going to tell you exactly why SmarkBusters isn't just one of the best. You could argue they are the goats of the YouTube wrestling community. Righty and Lefty, yes, those are their actual names, and yes, they somehow managed to do more damage to Wrestling Forum as well as other Smarky page than 1,000 AEW promos combined. Let's start with the obvious. These guys are hilarious. Like, laugh until you question your life choices funny. Their humor is edgy, offensive, and absolutely not designed for people who treat wrestling like religion. And yeah, sometimes the jokes are rude. But here's the thing. If a roast is accurate, is it really offensive? Or just the truth in a clown wig? They say what we're all thinking, but with a punchline. And somehow, no matter how brutal the joke is, you know they're not being mean-spirited. They're just really, really good at cooking people alive. In a world where everything's been sanded down and made brand safe, their sense of humor feels like a firework in a nursing home. Chaotic, dangerous, but you can't look away. Behind the clown mask is a functioning brain. Two of them, actually. SmarkBusters didn't just roast for fun. They made sense. They used real numbers, real logic, real history. Like, remember when wrestling had actual fans, not just camera cuts and piped-in chants? Yeah, WWF Raw in 1999 averaged over 6 million viewers a week. Some episodes even hit 8 million. That's not nostalgia, that's facts. Back when people turned on Raw and weren't greeted by 30-minute promos about respect, honor, and why flippy guys deserve hugs. The SmarkBusters weren't afraid to say, maybe wrestling's dying because people don't want to see grown men slap their thighs and sell like their spine just dislocated after a shoulder tackle. One of the best parts? They didn't need fancy editing, dramatic transitions, or stock footage of fire and brimstone to keep you watching. They could just talk. Their delivery alone was more entertaining than half the Smark YWC, doing 45-minute Raw reviews with 30 minutes of sighing. You know the type. Meanwhile, SmarkBusters are out here going full scorched earth in the first 30 seconds. Along with their classic Raw review intro line, "This was the worst Raw of all time." Now here's where things get spicy. Everyone in the YWC from 2014 to 2016 was saying the same thing. PG sucks. Bring back Attitude Era. I miss when people bled out on live TV. Okay, cool, same. But guess what? No one had the balls to go after the Smarks themselves, except SmarkBusters. They made an entire playlist called Bustin' Smarks. That's not just content, that's a mission statement. They weren't afraid to roast the NJPW nerds who think a match isn't good unless it's 47 minutes long and someone kicks out of a move that would kill a horse. The dudes who hate on muscular wrestlers because they didn't train at the Tokyo Dojo in 2011. The fans who act like Orange Cassidy is genius-level storytelling. SmarkBusters called them out when no one else would. And now, those opinions that were edgy in 2015, they're mainstream today. Let's talk about the prophecies. They said John Cena would be loved one day. Back when people were chanting, "Cena sucks" in their sleep, SmarkBusters said, a few years from now, John Cena is going to leave. And he's going to come back and people love him. And people will forget that he ruined wrestling. Fast forward a few years, and now he's the wrestling Jesus. Everyone wants him back. The IWC treats his returns like a Marvel post-credit scene. They were ahead of their time, and honestly, they were always right. It just took the rest of the YWC a decade to catch up. Most importantly, they were fearless. No filter, no soft takes, no bootlicking. They just said what needed to be said. And you might not have always agreed with them, but you always knew they meant every word. They weren't chasing likes, sponsorships, or trying to get noticed by WWE. They were there to roast, rant, and remind you that wrestling is supposed to be fun, not a philosophy class. They were the only guys in the YWC who didn't try to sound like a fake Meltzer clone. So yeah, in my eyes, SmarkBusters is the best channel in the YWC. No one else brought that perfect mix of humor, intelligence, fearlessness, and entertainment the way they did. They weren't just another review channel. They were a movement. They were different. They were real. They were hilarious. And they were right more often than not. Watch the old stuff, rewatch the rants, and pray to the wrestling gods that they make a return. Because honestly, the YWC's been boring without them.